I wanted to say, first of all, is that HR function is becoming in France more and more strategic, and I guess it's the same in Western Balkan, particularly in view of the budgetary cuts that we are all facing, but also to meet the challenges that the civil service must take up as part of the major transformation underway. I mean by that digital transition, environmental transition, or even demographic transition. To meet these challenges, it is essential for the civil service to have civil servants with the right skills in these different areas. So the HR function, is under pressure as it has to deal with sometimes contradictory injunctions, such as the need to reduce public spending while improving the attractiveness of the civil service. Saying that HR function is also faced with ethical issue, at least in France, as it must guarantee equal access to public job by avoiding all form of discrimination, particularly those linked to age. It's a big issue in France, the problematic of ensuring intergenerational justice right now. We are working a lot on that topic. In that context, we need to rethink our management methods and to support all staff in the current and future transformation, and the transformation, of course, they are facing. And to do so, the HR function plays a decisive role in ensuring that the public administration continue to fulfill its public service mission. Unfortunately, it is all too often the case that the HR function is not valued enough, as it is seen as a support function that should be at the service of the administration's other function. Yet, it is clear that the HR function must be a driving force in initiating and supporting the transformation of the administration. No reform can be carried out without HR support, because adopting a purely budgetary, for instance, approach to managing public job sector would have deleterious effects on the level of commitment and performance of public sector employees, and therefore of public services. So in order to play its full strategic role, the HR function must always be one step ahead. That's why in France, we recently decided to develop HR for site activities, and that is activities that my department is dealing with. Just to start, for you to understand clearly, let me highlight the unique interministerial and partnership-based positioning of my direction. This is officially defined in its statute, actually. It's the interministerial and partnership-based positioning is the essence of my directorate. This positioning has enabled us to develop a strong operational network across different levels of public administration. And in such a decentralized system, what you have to understand is that we cannot impose change, but we must inspire it. And that's where HR foresight becomes essential. It gives us a head start, allowing us to anticipate rather than react. This is precisely the role of my department, to be at the center of this partnership ecosystem, creating bridges between national and international actors, just like we do today, and between public and private sector, but also with academics and researchers, for instance. The foresight mission is essential because it directly supports the strategic objective of my directorate. At the core of the DGAFP strategy is the development of public service law and cross-ministerial framework that guide HR policies, process represented here by the wheel that you see just in front of you, which engage most departments of my directorate. Once these frameworks are established, the next strategic step is to disseminate, of course, them across HR networks, ensuring their effective adoption and use. This adoption phase allows us to evaluate what works and what does not work, which in turn informs the promotion of best practices. foresight play a critical bridging role within this strategy. It comes into play after best practices have been promoted by assessing their impact in a changing context and before new rules or frameworks are developed. This forward-looking approach enables my directorate to anticipate evolving challenges and adapt its HR policy accordingly, ensuring that its strategic goals remain relevant and effective in a dynamic environment. So I just wanted to highlight in this slide the critical process of designing and executing HR policy in my directorate that are closely aligned with current and emerging challenges. Effective HR policies must not only address existing organizational needs, but also anticipate future transformation in the workforce, technology, and regulatory environments. By tailoring policy to these evolving challenges, the DGFP ensures that its HR strategies remain relevant, flexible, and impactful. This approach supports the organization's overall mission to foster a modern, agile, and more efficient public services that can respond proactively to change. I'm going quite fast because I know that I don't have that much time. What I wanted to highlight also today is that a reflection on why developing HR foresight and why it should be a strategic priority. First, in France, foresight helps us to respect the principle of continuity and adaptability that are constitutional principles that we have to respect in the public service in France, ensuring that our HR policies remain stable yet flexible in a constantly evolving environment. Secondly, it enables us to understand both internal and external trends that impact the public service, allowing for more informed decision making. And I already say that, but it's still important to note again. HR foresight also play a key role in supporting ongoing reform by anticipating future challenges and opportunities. Moreover, it ensures that HR professionals are equipped with the right tools to effectively manage these changes. Finally, by sharing best practices, we foster collaboration and continuous improvement across the public service HR community that we are responsible for. To do so, we have a full range of tools available within the DGFP that allow us to carry out HR foresight and actively contribute to strategic HR thinking. I don't know if you can read because it's written quite in a quite small way, but these tools, they reflect the diversity and richness of our approach, from data analysis and trend monitoring to a collaborative platform, interministerial network, and a thematic workshop. Each tool serves a specific purpose, anticipating change, supporting decision-making, and promoting a shared vision of the future of public service HR. Together, they enable my directorate not only to understand emerging challenges, but also to shape proactive and adaptive HR policy that align with long-term public service goals. I just wanted to tell you that we have been building specific governance when it comes to foresight and strategic thinking in the DGFP. So our foresight activity rely on a strong governance, and we have two main committees in that governance. We have the Human Resource Policy Advisory Council, le CORE, Conseil d'orientation des ressources humaines, that has been launched in 2022 and whose role is to provide a strategic assessment, monitoring, anticipation, and leadership of the major issue facing the civil services in the future. This council is comprised of top-level managers from the public services, but also private sector, from OECD, researchers from top French universities such as Sciences Po, for instance. And it focuses on 4 priority themes that have been discussed actually and chosen. The value, meaning, and place of the civil service in society is the first one. Foreseeable development in HR function, job, and competency, the second one. The future of managerial practices and organization, and new social regulation, a new subject of negotiation with the trade union. That was the last one. What is important to understand is that this council is really a top public level think tank. Actually, can be I can summarize like that. That very top level council used another council, cross ministerial HR foresight network, that is actually comprised of the same more or less actors, but on a lower level. And actually, they are the one working. Really, they are the one that are going very deep into the subjects that has been decided in the core, and they are really working to produce tools and to organize workshop and to work on foresight and to have find solution for the HR professional. I'm almost done with my presentation. I just wanted to maybe conclude on foresight project that we have been developing with the OECD, thanks to European finance. Actually, the TSI, Technical Support Instrument, is financing a project that is dealing with the transformation of the HR function when it comes to handle the managerial, ecological, and digital transition. That is the kind of thing that we are doing in my department, and that is really useful to feed the thought of all the HR professionals here in France. And I'm done with my presentation, and I'm